Hello everybody. In this video we are going to discuss controlling, which is the last function of management. This is a very basic diagram. As you can see, it starts with setting the standard and then we measure the actual output. This actual output is compared with the standard and we check for deviations. If there are deviations, we analyze why the deviation happened and then we take corrective measures, and from there a feedback goes and which is helpful for the next round of planning or for setting standards. So as you have understood, the basic control process is as follows. We establish standards, we measure performance against these standards, and we correct variations from standards and plans. So what is a standard? A standard is a criteria of performance. Normally it comprises of verifiable goals or objectives, which means that it is measurable, it is quantifiable. However, it is not always possible to have quantitative standards for all activities, especially in the case of custom-made items or in the service sector. When we talk of controlling, we cannot spend all our time and effort in controlling every little thing. Therefore, we follow the principle of critical point control. This principle says that effective control requires attention to those factors critical to evaluating performance against plans. And these factors must reflect goals, tell us when goals are not being met, and must be economically viable. You will understand more of these critical points as we go to the next slide, which talks of different critical point standards. So you can have physical standard, cost standard, capital standard, revenue standard, intangible standard, or maybe even goals as standard. Physical standards are non-monetary measurements. So it is mostly in terms of, dimensions, outputs and all that. And it is used at operating level. It reflects quantities. So some examples of physical standards are units produced per machine hour or labor hour per unit of output. Then we have cost standards, which are monetary measurements. These are also used at the operating level. So examples are direct cost per unit, indirect cost per unit, labor cost per unit, material cost per unit. As you can see, these are all monetary measurements. Then we have capital standards. These are also monetary, but we are focused only on the capital that is invested in the firm. And the data comes from financial statements. So some of the capital standards that we can adopt are like return on investment or a current asset ratio or a leverage ratio. So these are examples of capital standards. Then we have revenue standards. These are monetary measurements. There is monetary value attached to sales. And examples are like average sales per month, or maybe average sales per customer, or revenue per bus per mile. So these are examples of revenue standards. Then we can have program standards. So if you have taken a sales promotion activity, then whether it was done successfully or not, that is going to be a standard. Or maybe development of a new product, whether you develop the product in time or as per specification, then that is going to become a standard. Remember, I told you that all things are not measurable, so therefore you have intangible standards. It is difficult to measure what is the benefit of an advertisement that has gone out this year, or it is also difficult to measure the services of a nurse or a teacher. So in these cases, what we can do is that we can have a small perceptual survey, and based on that survey, we can find out about how efficient these services were. Finally, you can have goals as standards. That is, the plan and its characteristics will be taken as the standard. So if your goal is to vaccinate 300 children per month, then that becomes a standard for you. After talking of standards, we will move to two different forms of control, that is real-time information and control and the feed-forward control. The first diagram that I had showed you in the beginning of the video was a feedback diagram. So what is real-time information and control? Real-time information is when information about what is happening while it is happening is known to us. So examples are, when you book your airline ticket or a train ticket online, you automatically know how many seats are available, how many seats are filled up, and what is the price. So that is a real-time information you get as a customer. The moment you book your ticket, on the other side, the airlines or the train service, they know how many seats have been sold out and how many are left. So this is real-time information. Of course, the control really doesn't happen then and there. It takes a little time for the control to happen, but information is real-time. Similarly, at point of sales, the data goes in and it tells the store how many items have been sold, what kind of items have been sold, and it can also do a cross-check with the inventory and tell you that whether it is time to kind of replenish the inventory. So these are examples of real-time information and control. Next, we have a feed-forward control. So this says that if the inputs are correct, outputs are going to be correct. And therefore, any deviation in inputs will lead to deviation in output. So therefore, monitoring has to be done at the input stage. If you visualize a biscuit making factory, the inputs come in the form of flour, oil, sugar, salt, and all that. So therefore, the quality of these inputs directly affect the quality of the output, that is the biscuit that you are creating. If you want to have good quality biscuits, your raw materials have to be of good quality. Not only the raw materials, the dough that is prepared also has to be of good quality. Then only the biscuits are going to be of good quality. So we are focusing on the input stage to ensure that we get good outputs. Hence, we are saying that monitoring is done at the input stage. Feed-forward and feedback systems are a little different. When it is a feedback system, you have the input, it goes through a process, there is an output, and only at the output stage you check for deviations and then you send a feedback. But in a feed forward, you will check at the input stage and maybe also in the process if possible. And when these two are okay, your output is definitely going to be okay. So this is the difference between feed forward and a feedback system. So with this, we end part 1 of this video. The second video will follow shortly.